What's up, flamethrowers? It is me, Flame the Dragonog here. If you guys hear any noises outside, some of the neighbors are having their trees cut down. So, yeah, if you guys hear some weird like crunching or weird machine noises, yeah, that's them going on. But anyway, welcome to another creepypasta story. And today, guys, this creepypasta story was highly requested for me to read. And guess what, guys? It was created by none other than my beautiful girlfriend, Star Gleam the hedgedragon. That's right, guys. She created this creepypasta story all by herself. I helped her out a little bit, and I thought, you know what? How about I read this too? How about I read this? And she immediately got to work on it. I tweaked the story a little bit. Helped her out a little bit, and she really appreciated it. So, here we are, guys. We are going to be doing her creepypasta story, and it's none other than, it's called The Phantom Bride. You guys are most definitely going to love this. It's amazing. You guys are most definitely going to love this. Here we go. Phantom Bride. Our story takes place in the year 1939 in a small city in New Mexico, where a young woman by the name of Victoria was looking forward to the greatest day of her life, her wedding. She was really beautiful. Long brown hair, beautiful blue eyes. She was absolutely stunning. In fact, a lot of people seem to think that she was an angel on earth. And, like I said, she was engaged to a beautiful and handsome man by the name of Shane. Shane and Victoria have been dating for many, many months. And then, one day, Shane finally popped the question to her. She was absolutely amazed and thought she was the luckiest girl on earth to be marrying such a very handsome man, who, by the way, was from a very wealthy family. He grew up in a huge mansion raised by his mother and father. However, his father died due to an illness, and all that was left was his mother and him. And so, believe it or not, in Shane's father's will, all the money went to him. So he became head of the house. And of course his mother helped him out from time to time. Speaking of his mother, Sally, she was Shane's mother, and she was absolutely proud of her son and the man that he became. However, when it came to the meet and greet, sorry about that, guys. Whew. However, when it came to the meet and greet of meeting Victoria, her attitude towards Victoria was a little bit strange. However, I almost said Carlos, sorry. When Shane was around, her attitude is just happy. But when Shane isn't, she's really strange and mean towards Victoria for some reason. Victoria was really, really confused and was wondering what was going on. And then, one day, at the bridal shop, where shopping for her wedding dress, she ran into Sally. Sally cornered Victoria into the corner and said, "Don't think that you're gonna get away with your little scheme." Victoria, she was really, really confused. And then, Sally finally explained to her what was going on. I know you're just trying to marry my son just because he's rich and from a wealthy family. You think that if you marry him, you can brag on to his kid, you can brag on to your friends, or you can just hurt him and use up all his money. Well, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna put a stop to this. That's what she said as she stormed out of the bridal shop. Victoria was a little bit scared at first. However, when she told Shane what happened, However, when she told Shane what happened, he immediately got furious and scolded his mother. So much to the point where she was uninvited to the wedding. Then, on the day of the wedding, Victoria was all set in her wedding dress. She was all set and ready for it. She thought it was the most amazing time of her life. She wore her beautiful white wedding dress, a long veil, and of course is looking amazing. And at that moment, it was time. However, something was a little bit off. There was something a little bit off about the wedding march. She didn't really pay it much mind. Then the doors opened, and on the other side was Sally, her uninvited mother-in-law. She stood there in shock. Then Sally had a crazy look in her eye, and she said, "I told you I was going to put a stop to this." She reached from behind her and pulled out a huge knife, jabbing it into Victoria like 9 or 10 times, completely killing her. Shane came out of his dressing room all set for the wedding, and he came in to a very, very horrifying scene. His beloved wife to be dead, and his mother covered in blood while holding a bloody knife. Shane was devastated that he automatically called the police and had his mother arrested. However, that wasn't the end of Victoria. A few years later, after Victoria died, Shane, he found himself a new girlfriend. However, she wasn't exactly as much like Victoria. She would cheat a lot, she would steal a lot, gold dig, and lots of other things. Of course, he didn't pay it any mind. Of course, she did it in secret. Then, however, one night where he was waiting for his new girlfriend, she never came back. She didn't come back for about a week. That's when he decided to go out and find her. But there was no sign of her. However, just as he was about to head home, he passed by a familiar sight. It was an old abandoned church. However, that church wasn't just any church. It was the church where Victoria died in. Shane felt a heavy heart and some weird aura coming from that church. It was strange. However, without questioning things, he walked inside. It was absolutely dusty, cobwebs everywhere. And in the middle of the floor was a blood pool where Victoria was. Her dead body, now a rotten corpse of a skeleton, still wearing that beautiful wedding dress. Sorry, guys. I gotta stop saying Carlos, sorry. Shane kneeled near that body, praying to it, telling her to forgive him for not saving her in time. Just then, the door of the church closed. The doors of the church closed due to a gust of wind. It was a little bit strange. However, there was something else going on. The organ started playing the wedding march all by itself. Then up on the stage at the altar, was a white, shadowy figure. It almost looked like a bride. He was drawn to it. He walked over to it and lifted the veil. He couldn't believe it. It was Victoria's ghost. It was Victoria's ghost. She was absolutely stunning, just as he imagined her on their wedding day. He was immediately tripping out. However, he didn't care. He was so happy that he got to see his beloved bride again. And without hesitation, he broke down in tears, crying. Victoria's ghost comforted him. Again, sorry guys, I'm dealing with a cough. Hold on. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry about this, guys. A little bit brief pause to get a drink of water. Sorry about this. It's just that it's been a long day. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Victoria's ghost started comforting him and listening to his sorrows, saying that his new girlfriend was doing nothing but stealing and cheating and all sorts of other things. That's when they decided to come up with a plan. However, it will require her revealing herself to that girl. So, on one night, as the girlfriend was still cheating with her new man, they managed to walk down the street to that abandoned church, where suddenly the doors opened, and stood there was Victoria. The cheating partner walked towards her. The cheating partner walked towards her, leaving the girl behind. However, she followed him in. That's when the doors closed again, trapping them inside. And Victoria gave out a nice little chuckle. Soon, that chuckle turned into an evil laugh as she lifted up her veil, showing glowing blue eyes. And in a demonic voice, she said, "You think you can cheat on my beloved without him knowing? Oh, you made a big mistake." And that was when Shane came out of the shadows. That's when he came out of the shadows and caught them red-handed. Also, to make sure that they don't get away, they bolted the doors and windows shut. And so they sat down and had a little talk in another universe. No one really knew what happened to Shane's cheating partner and her side piece. However, Shane felt a sigh of relief, knowing not only does he have a nice conscience, but he's now living with something very special in his life. His one and only Victoria. They may live in different worlds, but love is love, whether it's alive or dead. And, of course, Victoria is expecting a little carrier on the way. How? Well, that's another story. Well, what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. What did you guys think of that story, The Phantom Bride? And sorry for those brief coughs and pauses, guys. It's been a long day, and sorry about that. Anyway, I do like to thank Star Gleam for suggesting this story to me, and I'm pretty sure she'll definitely create more in the future. I just hope she does. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below. And also let me know in the comments down below what other creepypastas do you guys want me to read out, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of them. Just let me know, okay guys? Cool beans. And if you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so that way you guys will update whenever I post. Anyway, this is Flame the Dragon Hog signing out for now. Later, flamethrowers. And again, sorry for the brief interruptions and stuff. Sorry about that. Anyway, later, flamethrowers.